Wednesday edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. Super excited to always come your way with the morning show. But most importantly, I'm excited for a very simple reason. The reason is that I've been joined in the studios by the General Secretary of the NDC in the person of Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, otherwise known as General Mosquito. This morning, our task here is very simple. We want to find out whether or not the NDC has a case relative to the just ended 2020 polls. And also, before we even get into that, to find out from him his general overview of the 2020 polls. Essentially, we're going to do a post-mortem analysis of the elections from the NDC's perspective and find out whether or not all the allegations that have been leveling against all the players involved in this process are grounded in fact and are grounded in law. Good morning to you, sir. And always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you very much.
Right. So let's start the conversation from this perspective. First of all, give us your general account of the 2020 polls.
Thank you very much, and good morning to listeners. See, more than 3 years ago, I took the view that His Excellency President Akufo-Addo would want to retain this presidency at all costs, because the signs were very clear right from the beginning. And as if I had been a soothsayer, everything that I predicted has come to pass.
What were the predictions then?
Well, when she started by changing the composition of the Electoral Commission, my first statement that I issued was that is bringing Jim Mensah and her team for the sole purpose of rigging elections and putting them in power. Then some people insulted me, others disagreed with me strongly, and so on. And I said, look, when you want to detect, every detector will want to use people who either have no reputation to protect or are not conscious about their reputation. So they will do every and anything to satisfy their paymaster. And I saw those type of characters in the 3 new commissioners. So I thought that something was about to happen.
What did you see specifically that made you think that that was what it was?
Oh, I have worked with Jim Mensah. I had worked with Jim Mensah for close to 10 years.
Okay.
And I knew her very well. So in my statement, I said that she's not the type of character that can stand the heat at the Electoral Commission. And so, first of all, she's not conscious about truthfulness. She can say anything and everything so long as it satisfies some agenda. And such a person heading a very important body like the Electoral Commission could be problematic. Right. And I didn't mince words at that time. I actually said it as it was. Then, you see, the thing about rigging election is that, and then particularly with MPP, they take small but incremental steps that will lead them to their goal. You see, so they took about 11 or 12 steps along the line. And you could see that they were, working towards rigging elections. But each of the incremental jumps will be so insignificant that when you begin talking about it, people will say you are too petty.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
First of all, let me run through some of the things they did.
Ask you to do that.
The changes at the Electoral Commission was one of them. The recruitment and embedding of their militia into the regular security services was another one of them. All along, you saw me raising concerns about this. The trial run of the elections at Ayawaso, West Wogon, was another one. Everybody indicated that, look, if Ayawaso, West Wogon goes unpunished, they are likely to repeat it in a worse form in the subsequent general elections. It has happened in Techiman because Ayawaso West, nobody died, even though people were injured. And then it exploded in Techiman, where 3 people died and several injured. There was a conscious effort to ignore an important institution like IPAC, the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, which was a forum where consensus used to be built around everything that we did in the elections, including formulating new laws, revising old ones, and all that, taking decisions as to the way forward. Whenever there is any controversy, absolutely, then IPAC will come around, and then we always found a
96,
workable solution from 94.
94, right.
And then there was a conscious attempt to also weaken key opinion leaders in the country. The purpose was that we are going to do a bad thing, but the guys who would have the courage and conscience to talk about it or condemn us, let us find a way of compromising them so that when the time comes, they will not be able to talk. When I talk about compromise, I'm not talking about maybe bribing them or anything, but they were misled into certain situations that has made them quiet. One of these attempts was when Jim Mensah decided to ignore IPAC and to put in place what he called a committee of eminent personalities to advise her. I did mention, in fact, when that committee was put in place, there was some other people rushed to commend her. I remember President Rawlings commended her for that effort because the people she has selected were the creme de la creme in society. And I said, no. The intention is to weaken these people, because they are the very people who would rise to speak against any wrongdoing in society. But if you find a way of making them part of the wrong decisions, then it silences them when the time comes for them to criticize. Yeah. Yes. And that was precisely what was done. They selected, every activity. One person cannot be a jack of trade, knowing everything. So you have people who have specialized in these election matters. And that is why we are in IPAC. We've been through this thing over and over and over again. So if something is amiss, it is easy to detect.
Absolutely.
But if you put pastors, big opinion leaders, juries, and other things together, and you say that they should immediately go into taking decisions about the technicalities of whether we should change our IT system, whether we should compile a new voters register and so on. They are limited, but because of their, what do you call it? Their
scheme,
yes. Because of their standing in society, they are likely to be listened to by everybody. So even if they are misled, they also mislead society. And then before they are aware, they have compromised themselves such that they cannot talk. On one of those occasions, the EC chair told them and printed documents distributed to them that the voters register that was going to be done, it will be based on the existing voter ID card.
Yeah.
So they then advise us that if your problem is that they are going to change the voters register, and they say that those who are holding the existing voter ID card will be registered. So what is your problem? So opposition, stop talking, and we stopped. eventually, immediately, this crisis, came down a little. They went back on their word, ignoring the personalities they were dealing with, and then went and removed the voter ID card from the breeder documents for the new voters register. And because of that, the committee of eminent persons were so embarrassed that they couldn't hold any meeting. Even as we sit here, they have never been able to meet again.
One would respectfully ask you, and I think beyond what you have spoken about, there's also the existence of the fact that they found a way of cancelling the strong room, and they said they were going to demystify the myth and that it was really irrelevant. I also raise questions about it because it has been part of the process from 1992 till today, right? So my understanding was at least it was going to help address all the fundamental issues that people may have relative to the coalition, etc. But that was also cancelled. I didn't hear you speak about that. I wanted your party to forcefully resist that, and also the introduction of the regional coalition system. I also had cause to believe that it was also going to be a medium through which some expected end would be achieved. But you didn't also forcefully resist that introduction, and why? And if you also identify all the litany of things that you've spoken about here, why, albeit that is belated now, but why didn't you at the time try to do something about it?
Thank you very much. I was just working towards
the
area. You see, after weakening opinion leaders and then weakening IPAC, because IPAC was the forum where issues like introduction of regional coalitions that you spoke about, and all these other things would have been decided. But they said, look, IPAC can go to hell. We are independent. We will do what we think is right. And so I stopped attending IPAC for more than 1 year before the elections. Wow. Because IPAC had been reduced to an one-way information giving forum. That you go, and they said, first they stopped inviting our development partners. EU and all that, who were witnessing what was happening, and then civil society organizations, and they stopped inviting them. Then they militarized the IPAC room. Anytime you go there, either soldiers or policemen are brought into that place as if, we were at war. And at some stage, they introduced a charismatic pastor who come and pray and speak in tongues and so on there. I think the CPP General Secretary at that time complained about it, Kabila, and it was endorsed. So we stopped the pastor speaking in tongues before we start. But all these things were part of the scheme to prevent people from sharing ideas as to the way forward. Always it was like, we have taken our decision and then that is all. Right. In the past, before we could make or change any law, the IPAC itself had a legal committee and then a technical committee. So the legal committee will always deliberate on new proposals for legislation that we intended to, adopt, and then we'll bring their report for us to agree before those CIs are sent to Parliament for enactment. Okay. In this particular case, Electoral Commission was picking draft CIs from the Attorney General's office, to Parliament. And then for the first time that party representatives will have, any knowledge about those CIs will be when after they have been laid in Parliament, that we will see copies. So they abandoned the path of dialogue completely. the path of consensus building, which has been the backbone for our electoral system, was completely abandoned.
So the purpose for which for which IPAC was introduced was, according to them, needless, because then IPAC was brought in.
Precisely, that was why I gave them my email address and said that any information you want to forward to me, you can forward it through this, so that it will save me the time of sitting there and listening to ideas, some of which don't make sense to me. So, and then my presence also would, you know, I don't know whether my presence was intimidating for them or whatever. So, because immediately you enter IPAC room, it's like the lady becomes so unsettled. So I said, then let me save you. If we are not here to dialogue on anything, we are just here to be told what you have agreed. Then you better send it to me through my mail, and then I'll read. So I've taken your information.
Okay, so you are good. Yeah, well, I just wanted to, for you, because you're still on IPAC.
Yes, so some of the things they did.
Please.
And then they decided to change the ICT infrastructure for the whole EC.
Okay.
Also under false pretext. They were talking about cost, which had no foundation, because we will ask you, if you think that one system will be cheaper than the other, let's have a look at the figures, and then we will all be in a position to compare. They say you are not entitled to any figures.
Wow.
You know. And then from there, they moved into new voter registration. That one, the story is still fresh in your minds.
Absolutely.
How we resisted this thing. The intention was to find a way of, you know, rigging elections through new voter register. And you bear testimony that as we were going into this election, we started at the filing of nomination. At the stage of filing of nomination, we had two registers, not knowing which one will be used. You can't file nomination with one old register and then move to a completed register after the filing of nominations. Right. It happened, and it was part of the rigging system. The closing down of media houses was a key part of the rigging system, because shut other people out and then let us repeat, you know, our side of the story continuously, so it gets into people's consciousness as if that is the only thing. So it was part of it. You saw, in fact, the printing and distribution of election material was also part, very bizarre. And for the first time in the history of this country, after the printing, the printing is always monitored and tracked very closely. But this commission, yes, by the players, because wherever they are printing, in the printing houses, all the players will have printing agents who monitor the printing 24 hours. So we run 3 shifts.
I see.
You know, one shift 8 hours, then another 8 hours, because once the printing starts, it doesn't stop.
I see.
And we don't have to go and sleep, because we don't know what will happen in the night. Okay. This is the commission that found a way of printing ballot papers on the blind side of these, you know, parties. And it was discovered. You know, first they tried to deny. Eventually, about 1 million or so ballot papers were intercepted, and the Electoral Commission's explanation was that they were anticipating a runoff, so that's how why they printed those. But everybody knows that the ballot paper you use for main election is different from the ballot paper you use for runoff. Because the main election, you have about 11 candidates also, or 12 candidates, and then the runoff, you have 2 candidates. So we caught them red-handed with more than 1 million ballot papers printed, and they have to be destroyed.
Right.
But who knows how many others have gone into the system. And there are stories running around now, even in Kumasi, where Chairman Woon to me is having a banter with Angel FM, and they are disclosing that Chairman Woon to me had
staff. I want us to appreciate it before, because this will now find expression in the election proper, so that you can take time and explain.
Printing of pink sheets, that was also made loose. So now there are many unauthorized people in possession of pink sheets, and it has a purpose. When we come into the main discussion, you see it. And then there was a conscious attempt to also pack the courts. You know, President Akufo-Addo is one of the presidents in this Fourth Republic who has appointed the highest number of judges ever.
11?
11 is just Supreme Court. There are several others to the high courts and so on. There are people who believe that judges will rule in favor of those who appointed them. I don't have any basis of believing or not believing that yet. Okay. But there are people who the impression has been created that the packing of courts was part of the agenda to rig the election. But I believe that people with integrity and who are conscious of protecting their integrity, they will always do the right thing, no matter who appointed them or who is before them. Okay. So let's hope that it turns out that way.
Right. Are you done with the process?
Yes. So these are the things that they did incrementally, which led to where we are.
My question therefore becomes, because these are things that were easily identified by all the players.
Yes.
But it appears that during that process, the NDC was the only political party that was actively involved in resisting that which you found to be very injurious to the process.
Yes.
Why?
First of all, when you are talking about political parties, of course, going by the results of 2016 and the current one, you know who the political parties are, and they are the two parties.
Yeah.
That is NDC, MPP. And the others are trying to grow. But if you hear about complaints from LPG parliamentary candidates who are accusing their leader, Akwalu, of pocketing all the monies that their sponsor, their main sponsor, that is MPP, gave them.
Yeah.
It gives you an indication as to the purpose and objective of some of these political parties. And I keep saying that whenever you see a political party in opposition trying to praise government and attacking other main opposition leaders, you know that that political party is like a mercenary organization. It is not a political party. Because you see, a political party is formed by a group of individuals who share the same view as to how a country ought to be run. And they come together to try to wrestle power so that they can put those ideas into effect. They can implement what they believe ought to be implemented to run the country. So if you have a political party which claims that, one, they share the same ideas as to how the country ought to be governed, two, they want to come to power, so they will implement those ideas. And then how do you come to power? You come to power by removing the one who is in power.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the purpose of your organization is to praise the one who is in power, so how do you come to power? If you are saying Nanado is doing all the right things, some went to the extent of saying Nanado deserves 4 more years and so on, and you call yourself a political party, so how are you going to come to power? So if you are talking about political parties, this is the way you should go, because it's like people have come together, maybe using some of these organizations as money-making ventures and so on. But I keep saying that there is always one party in power, and all the others ought to be in opposition. Uniting against the one who is in power. Absolutely. Because I want to be in power, you want to be in power, third person want to be in power, fourth person want to be in power. But the precondition for any of us to be in power is to remove the one who is in power now.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we decide maybe who else will occupy that position.
Yeah.
But
okay.
if you are in opposition and you claim you want to be in power, and you are trying to, all your activities are aimed at strengthening the person who is in power, then you are lying to your members that you want to be in power. You don't want to be in power. The party has been formed for something else.
That point has been eloquently delivered. Now let's come to the election proper. 4 more years rescue mission. Let me give thumbs up to the NDC, for instance, because see what I saw in this election, particularly when it has to do with social media and the impact that you made on social media. In 2016, I told a few friends that whenever I went on Facebook, the first thing I saw was Nana. Now, when I went on social media in 2020, I saw so many things about the NDC and the agenda that we were seeking to push. You also did very well with your PR materials, you know, the flyers and things like that, the hashtags, absolutely phenomenal. Now, one cannot but ask this question, that upon all the things that you did, all the media outreach, all the media engagement, all the social media engagement, social media reach, what not, the political campaigns, the rallies, even though yes, officially was cancelled, but there were some pockets of, you know, visitations here and there. Upon all of these things, what happened? What went wrong? Why did you or did you not? And listen to my question closely. Did you or did you not win the 2020 polls convincingly?
We won the 2020 polls. Maybe if you are talking about convincingly, that's a different matter. But we won the 2020 polls. But the reason why it wasn't convincing was these challenges that I have enumerated.
Okay. You stated the reasons.
Yes.
Consequence upon which you feel that
yes.
you won, but you didn't win convincingly.
Yes.
Because things had been put in place to ensure that you don't win convincingly. Now, what makes you think you won? Because the facts as put out by the Electoral Commission varies from that which has been put out by the NDC. And the only institution mandated or clothed with authority to declare somebody president-elect is the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission on the 9th of December, albeit that subsequently there were changes, but on the 9th of December made a declaration, which declaration indicated that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was president-elect. So what makes you think you won?
Thank you very much. You see, the Electoral Commission on the 7th of December made a declaration that President Mahama won with 140 MPs. And they came on the 9th to make another conflicting declaration. So that is why we are saying that you have made 2 declarations. Let us come around to investigate and find out which of your own declarations is the correct one. Because you've heard that elections are declared at the polling station. The polling station declaration is not done by NDC. It's done by Electoral Commission.
Yes.
And that is the primary declaration. People tend to think that when you hear that once Electoral Commission has declared it, that brings finality. Electoral Commission has declared 2 conflicting results. And we are saying that let us sit around and find out which of the 2 is right. Which of the 2 represents the will of the people. Tell me, in all the 38,000 polling stations, you know that there were declarations on the 7th of December after
at the polling stations.
At the polling stations.
Yes.
Fortunately, these declarations were more acceptable to all the political parties than the one that was subsequently done on the 9th. Because at the polling station, the counting is actually done, and then everybody's tally is verifiable in the public, and then certificates are prepared. These certificates are what you call the pink sheets, that after counting the ballots in this box, we realized that 10 went for this party, 8 went for that party, 11 went for that party. we are the people who are the key players. We have all signed that this was what took place there. So that is the primary declaration that was done in all 38,000 polling stations. So everything else that happens afterwards has to do with aggregation.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, and we have different capacities of addition. Okay, so if the free SHS has delivered very well, then I know that there are several thousands of Ghanaians who can do this aggregation. It is not, once you have done the initial declaration, you have lost the power to be the only monopoly of addition. Everybody has the basic data. So every one of the 30 million Ghanaians with that same data which has been generated by Electoral Commission is capable of putting the figures together. And addition is addition. 2 plus 2 is 4, and it will remain 4. So if somebody is saying that your Electoral Commission, your 2 plus 2, you are indicating that your 2 plus 2 is 5, and that is wrong. So let us go back and add 2 plus 2, we will get the 4, and you say you won't agree. Do you want us to believe your polling station declaration or declaration at the constituency or national level? Which is more believable if you want to stay to the facts?
Essentially, what you are saying is that from polling station you go to constituency, then you go to regional. So
national.
Yeah, because no, they introduced the regional coalition.
Yes, and then to
national.
Then to
national. So no, I'm just even looking at the pre-national.
Yes.
So polling station, you got the figures right.
Yes.
Constituency, you got the figures right.
Some right, some
right,
not
okay.
right.
So,
but it is addition of the polling station. So we are saying that we all agree that we are holding the pinches. These are the certificates. These are the pinches.
We'll get into that.
So if we all agree, and everybody has a copy of this,
yeah.
And I'm telling you that your total at the constituency level is wrong.
Yeah.
Don't we go back and total again?
Absolutely.
To find out who was wrong, whose addition is right, and whose addition is wrong. So that is our problem. And so if you say that, no, I'm not going to allow any re-addition, it means you have something to hide. And the one who has been claimed the winner, if you know you have actually won, you will be proud that you have a victory which is not tainted. Mm-hmm. So it will be you who would even be interested in letting the facts be verified. Okay, so if the referee says you have won, and the referee is not prepared for us to review, and then the one who has been declared the winner is also saying, I won't allow a review, then
it raises doubts.
So that is a simple question. All these things about going to court and all this is just about wasting the nation's precious time, because these things have happened in the past, and we have had ways of going about them and finding resolutions without any fight and without even resorting to court. There is the administrative phase of the elections,
yeah,
where these things are addressed before you conclude the elections and then proceed to court if you still don't accept the result. Mm-hmm. But we are saying that all the things that have happened in the administrative phase are wrong. Let us sit around the table and correct them the way we used to do in the past. You say no.
At what point did you realize that the figures that were coming in were inconsistent with that which you had? At what point? Was it because I know that some people raised issues relative to the coalition at the regional level, others raised issues relative to the constituency level, and others at the national level. And I think that we interviewed Kwesa White on this very station, who indicated that he didn't even want to sign the declaration sheet because they had problems, challenges with the figures that were coming in. But so I just want to understand, at what point did you, NDC, realize that the figures were changing?
Thank you, my brother. You see, the thing about communication
is
that the more stations you have, the higher the probability of the final information changing from the original information. If I have to talk to somebody straight on phone, that's one way of going about it.
Yeah.
Or I have to tell you something, to go and tell the cameraman, to go and tell another person, who go and tell the fourth person. You see that the direct communication will be better.
But the subsequent
ones, you may add something, or there may be something about your hearing. So by the time you are talking to somebody and mentioning Africa, it gets to another person, gets to another. The end product may be pronounced Afrifa or something.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So in the past where we were doing constituency collation, okay. Polling station results, yeah, constituency collation, and national.
Strong, yeah.
Even MPP had cause to complain that as far as the presidential results are concerned, we shouldn't even do collation at the constituency level. So and that we should, the law says we should send all the
pin sheets,
constituency, okay, and all the polling station, yeah, results straight to Accra.
Okay.
So that they don't get tampered with at any station. And the law requires the Electoral Commission to gazette the results polling station by polling station. This was the demand of the New Patriotic Party, as contained in the various letters they've written, petitions they've written to the Electoral Commission. Now you come to power, and it is under you that you are introducing more stations along the line. So it tells you the double standards of some of the key players in this election. So now back to your question.
Yes.
You see, when Electoral Commission imposed a deadline of 24 hours to declare results,
yeah,
we objected, issued a statement that this is an unreasonable deadline that the commission is imposing onto itself, and that the purpose could be something that is unholy. They ignored us and worked as if they were working under some legal deadline.
Okay.
The purpose was that let us establish a deadline and let Ghanaians accept it, so that there will be no time for anybody to discuss any issues at all. When we get the results, they will go and put it there. When they themselves know that it is not possible to gather all the results within 24 hours.
Yes.
So it alerts to the fact that perhaps results had been cooked somewhere already, and that they are using the 24-hour deadline to stampede everybody so that nobody gets the opportunity of following and verifying the results as they came.
Right.
And we're proven right, because in the past, results came and got certified constituency by constituency. Even the presidential results, they were faxed into the strong room.
Yeah.
And then you hear that if 10 from Ashanti region have come, they are passed through all the party agents for them to verify, and then after verification, the chairperson of the commission will sign. After signing, it means they are called certified, and then they are released to the press. Okay, so they don't come all 275 or something in a pack so that you cannot verify. So when you mention Asiedu results, then everybody in Asiedu, including everybody in the country, is able to follow through and to check whether the figures announced are wrong. Then you mention Manshia, then you mention, so they kept coming like that, and then at every time, Ghanaians have opportunity to verify. Okay, but in this case, they decided that there will be regional collation. So even the 24-hour deadline they gave themselves, by the expiration of the 24 hours, no single constituency result had reached headquarters.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were they doing? They were doing this regional collation for the commission to have an absolute picture about who has won, so that the manipulation can then take place. And that is why when the regions, some of the regions were collated, totally new figures were prepared and sent to headquarters as the figures that have been collated for the region, particularly Eastern region.
Yeah.
They prepared collated figures for the region from the constituencies in front of television cameras, in public view. Everybody signed and every party had copies. Now, the figures that got collated at national were completely different from what were collated in Eastern region. And we had the two copies to show to the public that, look, Electoral Commission with the parties collated these figures, and yet this is what fed into Jim Mensah's announcement at the national level. Can you come and explain to us the reason? As we sit here, no genuine explanation. And they all fed into the December 9th declaration that you are talking about.
Yes.
So we are saying that this is your own declaration at polling station, which seems to be significantly different from your second declaration at national level. If anybody has problem with it, then the problem would have to do with your addition.
Yeah.
So let us go and check the addition, and then everybody will have their peace of mind. And you say no. So what do you want? It means that it's a way of admitting that there is something wrong, but you don't want anybody to know what went wrong. And then
did you at any point have any challenges with your coalition, particularly with the presidential?
No.
Your
We didn't.
break down
In fact,
at all?
no. The figures that we had for Ashanti region, for instance, they were around 1.5 million. And then the commission announced 1.7 million.
You had 1.4.
1.4, so I'm saying around 1.5.
Yeah.
It's more than
Okay.
1.4.
Well, true.
Then the commission announced 1.7. And we said, how come? So we just took a snapshot of some of the things and realized that for a certain number of constituencies, there are additional 13,000 votes difference.
Yeah.
From the parliamentary and presidential, which
created
so which created the impression that in those particular constituencies, people went there to vote for Nana Akufo-Addo, and they didn't bother to vote for any other parliamentary candidate. And it was completely absurd. In another set, the difference was 11,000. And then the third set, the difference was 8,000. You understand?
So this was deliberate, in your estimation?
But clearly, this is a sign of manipulation of data.
I mean, I've ever voted for presidential and I didn't vote for parliamentary.
There may be a difference of maybe if 100 in a constituency is acceptable. But 13,000.
That's it.
So where did they drop?
A significant figure.
Where did they drop the parliamentary ballot, which they didn't use?
Yeah.
Where did they drop? So these are some of the things. So we are saying, we are not saying that electoral commission, the whole election is flawed. We are saying that your declaration at polling station is acceptable because whether we like it or not, our agents have signed.
Okay.
So let us go back to your polling station declaration and do the calculation, because your calculation and aggregation is wrong. So that is the key.
Let's look at on the day of the declaration. Like I intimated before, we spoke to Pesa White, we spoke to Rojo on the show, and they were indicating that they had found some anomalies with respect to the figures that were coming in, and therefore they needed to find, some piece before signing the declaration sheet. Albeit that subsequent, I don't know the purpose of the declaration sheet. When you sign the declaration sheet, what happens? It means you accept all the results that are coming in, right?
Yes. Yes.
At the national level. So if you fail to sign, it means you disagree with the figures that are coming in. Can the EC go ahead to make a declaration if a major stakeholder in this particular process fails to sign a declaration sheet?
In law, yes.
Okay.
But in practice, it doesn't happen in Ghana. Because we have established robust consensus building mechanisms to deal with these matters. In previous elections, at least on 2 occasions, when the commission was about to do their declaration, final declaration, they will alert all political parties that in the next 3 hours, we have sufficient data to declare the results of the election. But if you have any outstanding issue, can you bring it up for us to look at?
So they will actually make that request?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Under Farijan.
Okay.
Then if you have an issue, you bring it up. On 2 occasions, MPP sent, what do you call it? They raised issues, okay, in a letter which was at times copied to the Peace Council and so on. The Peace Council will intervene with the Electoral Commission and all the parties at a table.
Okay.
Then we look at those issues and clear them before we proceeded to announce.
To declare, I see.
On this particular occasion, we were not invited, but we sent a petition that we have these outstanding issues. We have these figures that were not, consistent with
that which you had.
With that which you had. So can we meet to resolve these issues? Because that was the time we had picked this Eastern region results, which was completely different from what we have all agreed upon in Koforidua. So we actually sent a petition that commission delay whatever you are going to do. Let us sit around the table and then look at these issues. It is one thing looking at the issues and saying that, look, they don't have any merit. So after declaration, you pursue your rights elsewhere. And quite another saying that I'm not prepared to look at any issues.
Okay.
And that was precisely what this commission did. So they received our letter, put it aside, and went ahead to do their decision. And let me tell you, so when people are calling for us to go to court, as if that is the only option. And when you question them, they say, oh, that is the precedent.
Yeah.
That is the precedence that the parties have. That is not the precedent. In fact, the precedents are more by the way of us sitting together to resolve issues. That is why you don't have many cases going to court against the presidential election results. 2008 was a very important and difficult election because we did 2 rounds. After the first round, there was no clear winner. Nanado was leading. But NDC had captured parliament the same way we have done. Then there was a second round. And then Professor Mills jumped into the lead with about 23,000 votes. This was where then when the commission was ready for declaration, then MPP submitted a petition and copied the Peace Council. So the Peace Council, everybody came around, told the commission to call all of us, and then we all went around to look at the issues that had been raised by the Electoral Commission, by the MPP. And their key issue was that even though NDC was winning by 23,000, the voting, the second round voting did not happen in time at all because of certain challenges. Absolutely. And I was privy to it because that's my constituency, so I was there.
Yeah.
So, and Thai has a registered population of 54,000 at that time. So if somebody was leading by only 23,000, and you have 54,000 people who have not participated in the process, vote, it would be wrong to declare anybody a winner until you know the thinking of the 54,000, because where 30,000 or so can vote in one direction or the other,
and that can significantly change the outcome.
It can change the outcome. They put the issue on the table. We all interrogated it and accepted that it made a lot of sense. So let us go to time to run time and add the results before we declare.
That was done.
That was done. It was not any court that directed us to go to time. It was common sense that took us to time, and the spirit to accommodate everybody, and the pursuit of what is right that took us to time. It wasn't any court that directed us to go to time. Another occasion, in the same elections, I think when the results of the second round were coming in, NDC also raised an issue because, as I explained to you, the results came from the various regional capitals. Even though they came not in an aggregated form, you put all the things and fax them, constituencies in the region, and you fax them one by one. So the results of some 10 large constituencies in Ashanti region had been received already and inputted into the aggregates. Then when it appeared that MPP was losing, then we picked information that Jacob Echebilamte and a group of people had flown with the presidential jet to Kumasi. Then not long after that, some new results started coming from the faxes, which were ridiculous.
Is that what created a strong room scenario?
Yes, because constituencies whose results have been received already started sending new and updated results. That was what led to the raising of alarm that something sinister was happening.
Yeah.
And so when that alarm was raised, Afarijan did not say we should continue the same way as Jim Mensah had said. Afarijan came and then stopped the process of collation. Meanwhile, people were massing up at the premises of the Electoral Commission. So he stopped the collation, and then the following morning called all the party leaders around the table to hear us out. Then we raised this issue that, look, there's something going on wrong. Your fax machines are generating results of constituencies which we had taken into account earlier on.
Absolutely.
So, and we disagree. Meanwhile, the night the collation stopped, we also sent people to Kumasi to pick our pink sheets.
That's all.
From the constituencies that were in controversy. So we brought them and said, these are pink sheets that show that, these results are wrong. Meanwhile, the MPP played their game so craftily that by the time, after you endorse the results of a particular constituency, they are now put on a file and given to a messenger to walk through the corridor, to the chairperson's office for him to sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somehow MPP was able to intercept the results of these 10 big constituencies. So when we were raising issues, Afarijan had not had these results at all. So Afarijan brought his data and said that, look, these constituencies, I don't have the results. Meanwhile, we had imputed the results in our system. And at that time, no party is given copy of the results. It just comes to you for verification, then you sign, it passes and so on. So we couldn't have copy, even though our computers were showing that these results have been added. Yeah. Then MPP, because it was their game, they also said that they don't have those results on their system. So Afrajan says, do you have those pink sheets to show?
Absolutely.
So we had to go to the constituency to bring the pink sheets. Yeah. Unfortunately for us, there was no single constituency where we were able to gather all the pink sheets, because in a rush like that and in the night, some were able to gather 90%, some 70% and so on. And we were prepared to say that, look, the 30% remaining, even if you assume that all of them voted for MPP and you add it to this results, it doesn't give you the figures that we are having.
Okay.
But Afraja insisted that no, we have to get all the pink sheets before we can make a case. But as the debate was going on, we had instructed our IT people to do the new collation, taking into account the bloated figures. And let us see what story it will tell. Luckily for us, when we took into account all those bloated figures, we still were emerging by 23,000. That is why the margin was that small. It was a margin that has been that has taken into account inflated figures by MPP all along. Our victory was much bigger. The margin was much bigger. But we didn't want controversy.
But at least the strong room played a very critical role at the time, because then you were all able to immediately see.
But you've made some mistake about the strong room, which I'll come to correct.
Okay, all right.
So that was, so we said that, okay, what is this argument about? It's about victory. If we win by even one vote, we have won. So we have won by 23,000. So can you go and declare? Then MPP petitions again that 23,000 was lower than the 54,000 people who are in time, so we have to go to time.
Right.
So all these difficult, processes or challenges were resolved without going to court, because you had a commissioner who was prepared to listen, who did not support any side.
And to impose himself on anybody.
And to impose himself on anybody who wanted what would serve the interests of Ghana best. So we're able to resolve them. But today we are facing the opposite scenario.
So that was it's interesting.
So these are some of the things.
I'm happy that you've brought in this historical explanation so that we can best appreciate what have happened in the past. Events that have happened in the past and how it was resolved. It's very crucial. Because then I asked about I don't want to describe it as a confrontation between Kwesa White, and the Electoral Commission when they found that something was wrong with the process. Okay, so now, after the declaration, NDC came out strongly. In fact, I think I saw you on the night or so of the declaration where President Mahama said he was not going to accept the results. And you also reiterated that position, that you're not going to accept the results.
Yes.
Did you at the time have any basis whatsoever to make that statement of fact that you're not going to accept the results, or you were only making this statement on the basis of the fact that, of course, of all the things that you've spoken about, and the fact that there was a possibility that the election was going to be rigged without any substantial evidence adduced to support your claim?
You see, as I have told you in so many...
No, you have, of course, yes.
That Electoral Commission has done a primary declaration. And they are now declaring something which deviates from their primary declaration.
But in both declarations, the MPP won.
No. The polling station declaration, MPP didn't win.
Okay, so
so that is the first declaration. I'm not talking about those they are talking about in Accra.
Yeah.
The primary declaration is the polling station declaration. And we are saying that figures available to us at that time did not indicate that MPP had won. And this earlier declaration was also the declaration from the Electoral Commission. So if the first declaration is different significantly from the subsequent aggregated declarations, then your aggregated declaration could be wrong. So let us go back to the initial declaration and do the recomposition, reaggregation, and then we know where you went wrong.
So you had all the pin sheets.
We didn't have all the pin sheets, but where we had gathered the pin sheet up to, and then the electronic gathering of resource all over the country, we realized that there was no way we could lose that election. So if anybody announces that Nanando is the winner, it certainly cannot be right. So that was why we came out to say that we have rejected the results, and we have since not backtracked from that position. Our position has been very, very consistent, because we have won because Electoral Commission has declared us winners at the polling station. So they cannot come to national level to declare us losers.
Yeah, but and those two declarations, you didn't have any issues when the parliamentary declarations were made, but you have an issue with respect to the presidential declaration. Who makes the presidential declaration?
You see, you have 276 elections that happen on the 7th of December.
Yeah.
Okay. 275 separate elections, because each constituency election is a separate election with their returning officer who declares the winner. Okay. But the returning officer's declaration also at the constituency level is a secondary declaration. The primary declaration is done at the polling station. So if you add figures and I add mine, and we are not agreeing on the total, the most sensible thing to do is to go back and do the addition together, so that we will find out whose addition is right and whose is wrong. So at the constituency levels, several of the results are acceptable, but we came out to indicate which of the results were not acceptable, and we have since been pursuing them. I have all the pink sheets for Savioso and Techiman with me here. In the case of Techiman, we have all the pink sheets. We have put all the results declared in the polling stations together. And the result is that our candidate has won by some 250 votes margin. And you have declared somebody else the winner. And we said that these are your own declaration. They are not from us. And you have given copies to everybody. So if somebody's total is wrong, let us sit down and find out whose total is wrong. Because the totals we have made, we have done it over and over and over and over again. And the picture that is emerging is that Christopher Bayere of Techiman has won.
So this is for Techiman?
This is for Techiman.
With the grace of respect, because maybe somebody is hearing of this for the first time, you may want to take us through a few of them and see if...
These are, you see, this is what the pin sheets look like.
It's been signed too. So
yes, signed by everybody. So, and signed by the Electoral Commission.
This one is what? PC Primary School Techiman, right?
Yes.
There's a code here, police station, the police station code.
Yes.
A1, range of 10 booklets, etc. The time is also here, which is 7:02 p.m.
Yes.
Signed. And it indicates reason if you refuse to sign. So if there were any doubts whatsoever at that particular polling station, people could have refused to sign. They would have raised those concerns, right? So and
the name of presiding officer
is
of the Electoral Commission.
Is there. His signature
so that is the primary declaration
Absolutely.
that has been done at the polling station.
I see.
So if another returning officer at constituency level is declaring something he claims to be the total of this, and we are capable of also totaling.
Absolutely.
And our figures are different from his. Doesn't it make sense for us to sit together to see whose totals are right and whose totals are wrong? The winner in this case is not prepared for his so-called victory to be validated. If I am declared a winner and I want to make my winning appear very clean, will it not be in my interest for third parties to even verify and say that, look, Asiedu Nketia won, so that it silences the critics? And the person who has done this work is the Electoral Commission. Would you want your work to be validated, to put to shame any critics by submitting it to other people to look at. And you say no. We have insisted that there was no collation. And you say that you have done collation. After doing collation, as when you ask that if somebody decides not to participate in the collation, it doesn't stop Electoral Commission from doing their collation. They will go ahead and do their collation. But there must be evidence that the collation has been done. In the case of Techiman, there is no such evidence. Because after collation, you have to sign and give every participating party a copy of the collated results. As we sit here, we don't have a copy of our collated results for Techiman.
But then I saw that you went to Techiman with a few.
Yes, so we sent cameras and went to the authorized person who is supposed to.
So you were not in search of
pink sheets.
The pink. Okay,
no.
That was the impression I was getting after. No. Yeah, because I had a conversation with a few friends, and they said no. You didn't have pink sheets. You went there to look for pink sheets. So you went there on a different agenda. You went to look for what?
You see, that is one of the modus operandi of MPP and Electoral Commission. They deal with some of the media people who don't take the steps to even understand the issues they are questioning other people about. So if you are a media man interested in election, the basic thing you should know is that what is the difference between a pink sheet and collation sheets and all these things?
Absolutely, yeah.
You see, so they were mixing them and saying that NDC says they don't have pink sheets. The pink sheets are the results declaration at the polling station. The collation sheet is where you tally the aggregation. So after you aggregate, you have each of these figures on the collation sheet. So if anybody disagrees with you or anybody finds out that instead of NDC getting 296 here and MPP getting 61, you have put a different figure there. Then anybody who has a copy of the pink sheet will go and question your aggregation, that you have committed an error of transposition. I mean, picking figures from the pink sheet to the collation sheet. And that has to be corrected. So the laws require that after the collation, you have to paste a copy of the collation sheet in the hall of the collation. So that anybody that is noticed to the public, anybody can walk in there and check for what happened in their polling stations to find out whether their results have been properly transposed and collated. So you have a commission or returning officer claiming that they have done a collation. We say give us as a main party. We are only two parties that participated in Techiman's parliamentary. Give us our copy. You say, I won't give you. I don't have a copy for you. We went to the collation hall, took pictures of the whole hall. There is no copy pasted there. And you say you have done collation. So that is the issue about Techiman's app.
Okay. But you claim also that you won, I think, 141 seats.
Yes.
Is it still standing?
It's still standing. And because all the issues we are dealing with, if they were resolved or Electoral Commission was minded to let us verify, you will find out that it will emerge that minimum 140 seats NDC won. Because, look, we raised issue about Savlugu. After a heated banter, Savlugu was declared and we were the winners. We raised issue about Sene West. After this banter going to court by MPP and so on, Sene West was resolved and NDC won. We raised issue about Upper Denchira West. After the banter, NDC won. So far, there is no single issue in any constituency which we have raised that has proven to be false.
Okay.
So that is why MPP is insisting, and with Electoral Commission, that we will not look at the others when the story is very clear.
There's absolutely good to be looked at.
There's absolutely to be looked at.
Yesterday somebody sent me a message that it appears the constituents are jealously guarding the EC's office with machetes.
Yes, you see, it's absolutely to be looked at.
Yeah.
And there is Seviyoso is even much more glaring.
Okay.
Seviyoso, there was absolute complicity with the Electoral Commission and the security services to destroy a ballot box.
I see.
Which is coming from our stronghold. You know, you have a certain number, I think 169 polling stations if you add the special voting. The actual polling stations are about 165 or so. And then special voting for others were created and added. So we have the pink sheets, and we have done our collation for Seviyoso.
So which one is this?
Seviyoso.
Okay, Seviyoso.
We've done all the figures. Pick from pink sheets, then you put it there.
Okay.
And this ticks is the cross-checking. After we have picked the figures, we give them to another set of people. Okay. Then they will pick the pink sheet and mention NDC so and so, MPP so and so, then you mark. We've done this over and over more than 5 times. And the story is very, very clear about Seviyoso.
Okay.
When you put 168 together, MPP is leading by 132 votes. And the last polling station, which was delayed and the box got destroyed. The last polling station is our stronghold at Sanwinso Community Center 2 or something. It's our stronghold. And after close of polls, when the votes had been sorted out and actually counted, then MPP raised an issue of overvoting or something. I'll come to explain to you what overvoting happens and how Electoral Commission has consciously introduced overvoting into these elections, which has created confusion all over the place. So somebody raised issue of overvoting, and which had no basis, absolutely no basis. Then immediately security came around and said, okay, then let us stop. So they didn't fill in the pink sheets at all. No documentation was done. So they put the what is sealed and moved it to Asanwinso District Police Headquarters. Then from there, they were waiting for the box to be conveyed to the collation center in Seviyoso. When the presiding officer had a call from the regional director of elections, Electoral Commission regional director, that he has dispatched a special pickup and an officer and a security person to come and take the Asanwinso ballot box to the regional, the collation center in Seviyoso. In fact, the collation center for the region and for the constituency are the same, because this is Seviyoso constituency, which is a regional capital. So when the pickup came, and it's registered.
You have the number,
yes, the pickup belongs to Cocoa Board, GV 593520-20. This was the pickup that came with EC officer in charge and a security man. And they demanded that they have been dispatched to come and lift that box. Our people insisted that no, there is a designated vehicle that carries all the boxes. There's a designated vehicle that carries all the boxes to the collation center. So we don't understand why a special vehicle is coming for this particular box. You know, and the district, the staff who came for the box is called Eric Entry.
Eric Entry.
Yes, Eric Entry
was sent to come.
He was sent to come for the
company of the
a security person and the driver.
Okay.
I have the driver's name too.
Okay.
And I have the description of the vehicle, which I have told you. A Hilux pickup. So our people insisted that no, we wouldn't allow the box to be carried in isolation. So even where there is controversy or demand for recounting and so on, the boxes must all move in one vehicle.
Absolutely, yeah.
They ignored them and drove away with the box. And curiously, a box that is in the center of a controversy, which needs to be protected, and for which reason you have dispatched a special vehicle. It tells you that you need to protect the box till it reaches its destination. Our people insisted on following the vehicle. It sped off. Then, curiously, they put the ballot box in the bucket of the Hilux pickup when there was a whole space inside the pickup. They put the ballot box in the bucket of the pickup, drove to the collation center where NPP people had gathered behind a barricade. And you know, the known electoral commission vehicles, or those that are bringing ballot boxes, immediately they approach, they allow them to enter. They don't stop them. In this particular case, this pickup was stopped behind the barricade. So the NPP people jumped in and took the box and destroyed it right in front of the security.
Oh dear.
Without any restriction.
Wow.
You know, so, and carried the remnants away. Nobody has been arrested as we sit here now. Okay. Unlike the Senate West scenario. Okay. So where we are with Sevi also is that the total number of registered voters, if you are to ignore, we had jotted down the figures as they were counted. And we realized that MPP had 105 votes and we had 265. So if you added this to the tally,
we would have won.
We would have won. We would have defeated the MPP candidate by 28 votes. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And then for some reason, you now jump to the conclusion that if that box had destroyed and all traces of it had been removed, then we can either go and declare the incomplete results, making the MPP candidate a winner. When it is clear that it is the Electoral Commission's own actions and inactions that led to the destruction of the box.
Okay.
And we have said that the established principle which Electoral Commission has used in the past to resolve this matter, the time principle, is that when you have some results and the difference between the winner and the first contender is that it's so small that the outstanding polling station has more votes that are capable to overturn the win, you don't declare results, you go there and do a rerun. So we are saying that Asiedu polling, ignore the results that were generated, which we believe could be added. But because these were jotted down results, Electoral Commission jotted something, we jotted ours, everybody. So there, none of it had entered an official document. Right. The official document there would have been the pin sheet, but they were prevented from completing the pin sheet. So there is no official document. So we understand. Let's put that particular thing aside. So what do you do in those circumstances? And it's the time principle that you have 417 registered voters in that Asiedu Community 2 polling station. And the margin of leading here is 132. It tells you that if you go and do a rerun, I mean, the results there can impact on the outcome of the election. So you don't declare, you proceed and go and rerun one polling station and add the results. And we did it in Akwatia. Akwatia, in one of the elections, there was disruption in 3 polling stations. And so Afarijan decided not to declare the results until there is a rerun in Akwatia Zongo, which was done, the results added before a winner was declared. So this is something that we have processes that we have gone through several times in several areas.
They are fortunate to have precedents. Anyway,
so that is the situation.
General, we're coming to a closure with our conversation. You just have about 10 minutes. I've exceeded because of you. Let me remind viewers that we're still in conversation with General Asiedu Nketia, popularly known as General Mosquitoes, taking us through the whole process. And he likes to always give historical underpinnings to some of the explanations that he gives, so that we can put parity with what happened then and now. And I think he's doing very well with that. Let me remind viewers that you can connect with us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Pan-African Television. You can also connect with me personally. My Facebook handle is Kwame Owusu Danso. I'm on Twitter, Kwame Owusu Danso. Instagram is at Kwame Owusu Danso. Send your views, your comments, your thoughts, your disagreements, your agreement. I will put them through to Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia to respond to them. But no, let's proceed from there. I think that you've given us an extensive, explanation relative to the whole process and why you disagree with the outcome of the election. That is fair enough. But moving forward from there, and I don't want us to also go into the conduct of the security agencies and civil society organizations, because then it's going to take us another 1 hour to discuss that. But you decided to choose an option which is not new, but which is a little strange in this current political dispensation. One would have thought that the immediate thing to do was to put your act together and go to court. Is it because you said idiots can go to court?
No.
Any idiot can go to court. So you are afraid that you will be described as an idiot yourself, so you have to go to court.
You see.
And the demonstrations and the protests, before you even respond to that, sir, with the grace of respect, the demonstrations and the protests, have they yielded any expected, desired result that you are seeking to get from that? And then we'll look at
Thank
the
you
court
very
issue.
much.
Yes,
See, first of all, I've told you there are several phases of the election. In this particular case, I want to isolate two phases.
Yes, perfectly.
The administrative phase, which must be completed before anybody can go to court.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yes.
So we are still in the administrative phase.
So explain to viewers, what is the administrative phase?
The administrative phase is the process of conducting the elections itself.
Okay.
Up to the point where declarations are made and gazetting has taken place.
Okay.
It is where anybody disagrees with those outcomes that they can proceed to court. But when the process is ongoing, there is established law in Ghana that nobody can stop the Electoral Commission from doing that administrative phase. So no court will intervene in the administrative phase.
Yeah.
That is why you need to apply the conventions that we have established in de-escalating tensions and so on. Yeah. And these are conventions I have referred to extensively.
IPAC,
you understand? And so when you are yet to have results declared and gazetted, and anybody is calling you to go to court, the person doesn't understand how the electoral system works. Because what are you taking to court? You take results you disagree with to court, but the process has not completed. So why are you going to court? And the Wenchi High Court demonstrated this thing very, very clearly. When MPP sought to use the court to prevent the outstanding ballot box from Senate West from being counted and added to the tally, the court said that, look, your action is premature. Okay? When MPP sought to use the court process to stop the declaration of results in Astifi Saf, we refer to that case as Collins Dauda case.
Yeah.
The results have been collated before declaration. MPP goes to court to seek injunction. The court ruled that it didn't have capacity to stop the Electoral Commission from proceeding. So if at that level, where we have not completed the administrative phase, anybody is calling us to go to court, go to court. And what is more nauseating was that most of the calls were coming from MPP. So you ask yourself, what have you done with the courts such that you are running away from administrative processes of solving this thing and you are urging everybody to go to court? What is it that you have done in that court and you are pushing?
That's giving you so much confidence.
So that is one of the issues. And you see, some of the principle, this time principle, even the chairperson of the Electoral Commission herself made reference to it. that she was guided by that principle. You know, when she was declaring the presidential results, she indicated that the reason why she is declaring the results without Techiman Saf is that the total number of registered voters in Techiman Saf, even if they added them to President Mohammed's tally, he will still not win. It means that the chairperson herself has accepted that principle, even in this election. So if there's another scenario and we say apply the same principle in Seviyo also and you are running away from it, you are playing double standards. You understand? Because you are mentioning the thing here and you don't want it to be applied here. In the case of Techiman, within the same Brong-Ahafo region, MPP, having sat down and participated in collation in time and signed, later found the need to request for recollation. They submitted a petition and the electoral commission accepted it and went and did recollation in time, even though the outcome did not change. We are saying that there was no collation in Techiman. So we have brought petition, let us do collation. And even if you claim that collation has been done, since you have granted recollation to another party you should be able to do in the same area, you should be able to grant us that thing so that we know the electoral commission is impartial. And you say, no, as for you, we won't grant you the chance for recollation.
So are these reasons
so this is why
to hit the streets?
The courts were going to court was premature.
Yeah.
So those who
you didn't want to be an idiot to go to court without evidence.
No, that issue, you see, you have all been misled by some people's opinions.
No, but you said that.
Yes. I said that any idiot can go to court. When I say any idiot can go to court, and you interpret it to mean that anybody who goes to court is an idiot, it means you lack appreciation of logic. Because if they say any idiot can go to court, it doesn't mean that everybody who goes to court is an idiot.
The MPP is saying,
in fact, I uttered those words when MPP had taken us to court in 2012. Those words were uttered in 2012. They are making it look like I just got up and said this. I uttered those words. Is it not on the same basis that going to court? No. Yeah. I uttered these words before we went to court in 2012.
Yeah.
You see, when they say any idiot, unfortunately, logic is no longer being taught properly in our schools. In our free SHS, nobody learns logic. That is the cause of a lot of needless arguments and disagreements. If we all introduce logic in our lessons, then we will be able to think properly. There are a lot of crooked and warped thinking that happens in society today. Because if they say that any idiot can go to court, it doesn't mean that everybody who goes to court is an idiot. What it means is that anybody, wise men can go, idiots can go, imbeciles can go, anybody can go. And that is what our laws provide. Our laws provide that any idiot can go to court. Because have you seen, if we have any law that says that if you want to go to court, they will assess you to see that you are intelligent before they accept your process, then it means that my statement is wrong. But there is nothing that assesses your mental capacities before they accept a process you want to file. In fact, if you go to court today and want to file a process that Asiedu Nketia has done this to me, it is not for the court clerk to say that your process is competent or incompetent. They will accept it and file it. It is only the judges who will sit and decide that the issue you have brought here lacks merit. So the law in Ghana is that any idiot can go to court. That is the law.
Okay, so I mean,
but that is. I mean,
you found logic in saying.
So it is wrong for anybody to say that everybody who goes to court is an idiot. I'm not sure. Nando made that mistake when I met him in court in 2012, and I went to greet him. Asiedu, said, "Mimi ye idiot no." I'm so Nana. The problem is with your logic. I said the problem is with your logic. Because you should understand. You see, when you are doing logic lessons, it will say that it will say that everybody, every girl wears a pink dress. Every girl wears a pink dress. Then Efwa is a girl. Or Efwa is a girl. So it means Efwa wears a pink dress. The answer is yes, wears a pink dress. But if you say that every girl wears a pink dress, Kwame is wearing a pink dress. Is Kwame a girl? The answer is you can't determine. Because if you say every girl wears a pink dress, it doesn't mean that everybody who wears a pink dress is a girl. There are other people who wear pink dresses, but every girl also wears a pink dress. So if we say that because somebody is wearing a pink dress,
I don't want us to be honest now, but it also could mean that anybody who goes to court is an idiot.
No.
Yeah, it also could.
Anybody who, logic. If you do that in logic lessons, they'll fail you. You fail.
Anyway, but let's look at the protest and protest demonstrations. And are we going to court? Is the NDC going to court?
Yes.
When are you filing? Are you filing today? Because yesterday
we are filing today. Yesterday we were to file and something went amiss. So we are definitely filing today, because now we have a resource to challenge. In the past, when they were saying going to court, what were you going to court with when you didn't have a resource to challenge? So the process is now matured for court actions. But it won't stop the protestations.
Okay.
The protestations are going to continue unabated.
I don't want to ask a question that will put me into trouble.
I've heard about talk about injunctions and all that. In the first place, I don't think that any injunction would prevent anybody from enjoying their fundamental human rights. But having said that, the court can put an injunction. But if the court is directing me or restraining me from doing any action, I will be notified by the court.
Okay.
So far, no court has notified us about any injunction.
Okay.
So we are not.
Okay.
We are not officially aware of any injunction. But having said that, you see, there are several issues. There are two main issues we are fighting with the street protests. There is the seeking for justice for the 8 people who have been killed and several who have been maimed. So there must be pressure to seek justice.
I understand that.
You understand? So that is a whole subject
on its own.
Which can be the justification for protest, even when we are in court with the results of this thing. This other one, seeking justice, that is under the control of government. But because we have a bad government, that is why we tend to think that killing is a normal part of our lives. Since when did killing become a normal part of our democracy, such that people are killed and nothing happens? We just make a few ugly noises and that's the end of the matter.
General, are you confident that you're going to win this case in court? Are you very confident?
Otherwise, why are we going to court?
But any idiot can go to
we
court.
Cannot go and waste our time when we don't have confidence in the people who will be judging the matter.
Okay.
So why are you saying we are not confident? And we know that
you have incontrovertible evidence.
2 plus 2 is 4. And we will find it difficult for anybody to say that 2 plus 2 should be 6. So everybody will accept it.
Right.
And I'm sure that the courts are also established to serve the general population.
All right.
So as the processes continue,
right,
the population will have opportunity to review our evidence together with the courts and so on.
Right.
So we are in a democracy. You cannot legislate for perfect institutions. You can make the laws for perfect institutions, but the institutions must grow. and they grow by practicing. So if we use them and where they go wrong, we criticize them, we help them to grow. But the most important principle that every Ghanaian must bear in mind is that democracy is built by democratic and fair-minded citizens. It is not the other way around. You don't make laws and think that the laws themselves will deliver democracy when you have people, leaders, and citizens who are not fair-minded and who are not democratic in nature. So our nature must exhibit the principles or tenets or feelings of democratic conduct. That is what helps us to build